Hey there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another Some Assemblage Required video. And I am combining it today with Kit Conspiracy, and this is the first official day of using our Minte Garage collection for Kit Conspiracy. I did do my layout yesterday for Stretch to Sketch on this same paper, so that is not the same paper, but the paper from this collection. So that is a bonus video for Kit Conspiracy as well as Stretch to Sketch, so go and visit that if you haven't already. But I was really enticed by this ripped jean paper. And I know I wanted to use green because you can see the photo on the right hand side there. My son's Jeep is lime green. And I wanted it to pick up on that color. And without really using any other papers, I wanted to be able to pull it in. Mostly because this collection doesn't have any lime green in it. It's got lots of blues and orange, but no lime green. So I definitely needed to pull it in somehow. So I'm using my Wink of Stella green pen, and I'm just going over all of that white stitching to change it to be green stitching. And I really like the way that it came out. It's quite different, and I think it looks really cool. So I am pretty happy with that. It also works well because not only is his Jeep on the right hand side green, but his Jeep was like a hunter green before it was lime. So both pictures that I'm using are green Jeeps. And I'm doing basically a before and after photo. Now these pieces of acrylic are from Colorcast Designs. They are, they've been in my stash for a while, so definitely more than 6 months, I'm guessing. But which maybe doesn't sound like a while, but what I'm getting at is they probably aren't on her website anymore because they are old for her. She doesn't keep things on her website for a really long time. But I wanted to change the color of them because they're obviously orange there, and I don't have any orange going on this layout. Originally I was going to try and make that Jeep photo work with the orange because there's orange in the collection, but I decided just to go ahead and change everything up. So I am dabbing on some white acrylic paint, and then once the white dries, I go over it with some lime green acrylic paint from Dilutions. And so that the color is actually called Fresh Lime. So I'm just tapping it on there, and then I'm going to let it dry. And then in the Some Assemblage Required embellishment box, there were some awesome chipboard pieces from Dusty Attic. And so I am inking those up. Well, I'm not really inking them up. I am mixed media-ing them up with some stencil butter. It's actually Marcasite Stardust butter from the Crafter's Workshop. I will put a link to that down below if I can find one. And it's not a really old product, so it should be available still. But if you're interested in that, and it really just kind of has this, it's like a glitter gel, but the glitter is super fine in it, and it looks a little bit like an oil slick. So I'm also pouncing it through this stencil. The stencil is also from the Some Assemblage Required embellishment box, and I really liked it because it looks like maybe he set down his oil filter and there is oil that has leaked around the ring or something to that effect, although these rings are much smaller than what would be on an oil filter, but it kind of gives you that same kind of feel. And so I'm liking that pretty well. I also wanted the emphasis to be on the right hand side of the page because that is the new Jeep, or not the new Jeep, but the new color of the Jeep. And so I flipped the page upside down so that lime green stitching of the jeans is on the right hand side. Now these are just some remnant pieces of the outside edges of the steampunk chippies from Minte. So I am just inking those up or adding some mixed media to those as well. I am using some gunmetal gray Nuvo mousse, and mine's pretty dry. I just sprayed a little bit of water in there, let it soak in, kind of like you would a pan of watercolor. And I am just letting it kind of soak in, rubbing it around, picking it up on my paintbrush and putting it over these chipboard pieces. And I'm liking how that's looking. I'm going to layer these underneath my photos somehow. just to give a little lift and to give a little pop to them rather than matting them with some sort of paper. I thought this would be a good way to put a little more emphasis on the photos. Now I went over and took these to my mixed media box, which is where I would spray them, and I am splattering some lime green Dina Wakley media gloss on them, and then I am sprinkling some around on the paper as well because I definitely want it to have some splats of lime green. And I don't usually do it before I put my embellishments on and stuff. I normally do it last, but today I decided to do it first because I wanted to get a really good coating of them, or good wide splatter effect. So anyway, I did go to my Spectrum Sherbet collection, which we used last week, because I know there's some lime green in there, or brighter green, and so I'm pulling out a bunch of bits of that so I can use it on this layout. So I'm cheating a little bit, but we do always say we can add additional embellishments. We just don't add additional paper unless it's some cardstock. We don't add additional pattern paper other than, you know, scraps. No new 12 by 12s added. Anyway, so I am cutting up some of the packaging from the Spectrum Sherbet collection. I'm going to try using some of this. I don't use that 4 by 6 card, but I do use the smaller pieces, and I like the way that it ends up looking. So now I'm going to play around with where I'm going to put this silver piece of packaging. Basically, it's what I cut or poked all of the chipboard pieces. You can see the piles of chipboard pieces up in the upper left hand corner there, and I don't end up using any of those because I don't want to bring in the gold or the copper. I could actually just put some more of the silver over the top of that and it would work fine, but I thought these pieces worked well, and I'm just really wanting that jagged edge underneath. I don't want a nice edge or anything like that. So these work well for that. And then I am tucking under these chipboard pieces that are from Dusty Attic and that I put that black on. I also did splatter green over that just to kind of give them a nice splatter effect also. So I'm liking how this is looking. If you want to know more about his Jeep, he's got an older Jeep. It's I think a 97 or 96 or something like that. It's a Wrangler. Before they had the 4-door body style. This is like the 2-door. And it was a hunter green when he purchased it. He has done a lot of modification to this Jeep, and it is now lime green, not because he had it painted, but he had it wrapped. A friend of his has a company that offers the vinyl, and so he and his friend did the wrapping. I think his friend did most of the application, but my son did a lot of the prep work for it and then some of the application, and it looks really good. You almost can't even tell that it's a wrap. And I don't know, it just looks really good. He's replaced the front fenders. He's replaced, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Steering linkage, bumpers, wiring, radiator. He gave me an entire list of stuff, you guys. And so I do write it on the layout at the end, and I write it inside the black areas where the film strip is, and I just use my white Arteza pen, but you don't get to see that because I got the list from him after the fact. But yeah, here I've got the list right here. It's got new doors, new brakes, new drive shafts, new axles, steering linkage, heater core, condenser, like I don't know if any of this even matters to any of you, a new sound system, new hardtop, all kinds of different things, you guys. He's worked on it quite hard, and it's looking really good. So you can see there in the top photo, it is the darker green, which is, I mean, not a bad color to begin with, but he really does love the lime green. And if you have watched my channel for quite some time, you might recall photos of his room when he was a little kid, and his walls were lime green and blue. So yeah, this is not a new thing for my son. He loves lime green. So I am tucking under some of these bits and pieces that the little tickets that are at the bottom of the bottom photo there are also in the Some Assemblage Required embellishment box. and I am pulling those in because they are green and teal, and I thought those worked well, especially since the upper Jeep is that hunter color and the teal one is really actually a dark teal, and it kind of matches that hunter green. So I thought that would work really well. I'm also playing around with the placement of my title. I don't know if I want the before and after next to it, if I want it on the photo, if I want it in between the two. Eventually it will get put right across the center in between the two. And that was my original intention, but it was starting to feel a little squished because of all of these chipboard pieces. They were kind of creating a little lift underneath the acrylic, so I kind of had to jostle things around a bit to get it to fit, but I like how it looks there best. While I go and play around with these embellishments just a bit more, I'll remind you to go and check out what MK has for you today. She is doing another Kit Conspiracy layout today as well, and we will be posting today, Tuesday, and Thursday for sure. I believe both of us are also using this for our Mixed Media Mayhem on Friday, so you're going to get another bonus layout on Friday for that. And we do have a couple other people that have been playing along with us. Susan L. and Jennifer Kane are both playing along also. So they do have Instagram. You can go and check them out. I will put their Instagram links down below and a link to MK's page, or rather her YouTube channel. I'll actually put a link to her website as well in case you are interested in purchasing the embellishment box or any of the other products that MK has for, available. These are not the only things in the embellishment box. She does have quite a few different things that are crafty related, and so if you're interested in knowing more about those, I did use a bunch of those on Friday, I believe, for Mixed Media Mayhem. Okay, you can see me just fiddling around here with this chipboard versus chipboard. So the chipboard from Minte, the remnant pieces, versus the ones from Dusty Attic. I'm having a little fight here with them, getting them all lined up and just placed exactly where I want them, and then being able to add the acrylic as well. I do end up putting it right where it is there, and I like it. I do think it's up a little bit on one of the acrylic pieces, or the chipboard pieces, but I don't think it's a big deal. It's still sticking just fine to the layout, and I'm sticking it down with some glue dots. And for me, that's what works best on the acrylic. You can use liquid glue. I have done it before, but I do feel like this has the best hold over time. I haven't really had anything fall off to date, regardless of how I've glued it on, but I don't know. That's just where I'm comfortable, I guess. Now I'm just trying to align my before and after so they are the right height. I want the bottom of the F to align on both of them just because it's the letter that hangs down the lowest. What I'm doing here is when I move some things around, a little bit of the silver came off, and so I'm just touching it up. And then I am popping up this entire, actually both of these clusters onto foam because that chipboard has height given to it. So I needed a little bit of foam to support the rest of the photo in both the bottom and the top cluster. And now I'm just trying to fit it all back in between those two pieces of chipboard from Dusty Attic, which are already adhered to my page. So making sure everything fit there and gets aligned. I'm liking how this is looking, you guys. I am just about finished with it. I'm going to add a sketchy white line all the way around the outside with my white Arteza pen in a 0.6 tip. And I really like this pen. It's my favorite one. And as you saw there, I just finished it off with a little bit of white splatter. I just like the brightness that it brings to the layout because everything's really dark so far. And I think the white line also helps frame the entire thing and bring in a little more lightness to the entire layout. So I'm pretty happy with the way that that looks. When you get your embellishment box, everything comes tied up in brown paper packaging, and this was one of the strings that was tied around the brown paper package. So even that string is from the embellishment box that MK sent, and I really like the way that it looks hanging off that tag up there. I did decide to go back and use some of the die cut pieces from the Mente Garage collection using some wrenches, and I'm just tucking them in behind the ticket and behind the tab at the top there. And I think they look really cute. They just add a little bit of a nod to being a mechanic in there. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this layout. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. And if you want notifications, you can hit the bell down below and it will notify you each time I release a new video. Thank you so much for spending time with me today and watching my video. I know you guys have a lot of options, and I really do appreciate the time you take with me today, each day, to check out my videos. So thank you for that, and I will be back again tomorrow with another video. See you then. Bye-bye.